3 people are dead, 4 are presumed to be infected by this new virus we haven't seen in cruise ship over 30 years. It's gone viral. It's all over the news. And if you have not been watching the news, we'll catch you up to what's going on. Unfortunately, events have taken place in the Great Stirrup Cay. Once again, a gentleman lost his life doing a regular activity on the beach. Speaking of Great Stirrup Cay, if you are traveling to Great Stirrup Cay or anywhere in the Bahamas during a cruise ship or maybe a land excursion or anywhere in the Bahamas on May 12th, you are in for a sobering time if you drink alcohol. That and more in today's Cruise News Show. Let's dive into it.
Pack your bags, let's go to a place where the sunshine glows. Feel the breeze, we're free.
Let's catch you up on this hantavirus outbreak. What we know so far is that 3 people are already dead, 4 are infected. 1 person has been identified as infected in Switzerland. The 3 that are infected that were on the ship have actually been taken off the ship as of this morning, and they're in the hospitals being taken care of. And things are still developing as most of the crew and passengers are still on the ship. They arrived in Cape Verde, and they weren't not allowed to dock at Cape Verde. So they were going to make their way to the Canary Islands, where the government is still debating whether to not let them off the ship. They don't want anyone else infected. This hantavirus is what it's called. It's transmitted through rodent feces, saliva, and urine. And once injected, you can actually, this particular strain, which is the Andes strain, you can actually transmit it to someone else, pass it on to someone else if you are in close contact, like sleeping in the same bed, sharing food. And this is the only one that is known that can be transmitted to another human. That's why it's a little worrisome. Hopefully it's contained to this expedition ship that is sailing from South Atlantic to the North Atlantic. And it's a weeks long expedition ship visiting small islands that normally big ships cannot make. Things have gone a little bit weird as far as the timing is concerned. There was still 1 dead person on the cruise ship as of yesterday that had died for a couple of days. And the first person that died was a husband of a lady that also died subsequently. And unfortunately, they were not taken off the ship until almost a week later. What we know so far is that this ship has been quarantined or contained. No one is allowed to be off until they show no symptoms. It takes about almost 8 weeks to show symptoms in some cases. So they can be there for a long time. They've already been there for over a month since they left Argentina on April 1st. Things are developing. And once we know a little bit more, or if any more people get infected or show symptoms, we'll come back and let you know for sure. And other sad news, no way around, giving you better news than this, but unfortunately, there's been another victim in Great Stirrup Cay. The gentleman, 83-year-old, was scuba diving, or actually snorkeling with his son when they were finishing up mid-afternoon. They were swimming back to the shore. His son turns back, see that his father is no longer swimming towards the shore. He goes back to retrieve him. They pull him to the shore. Lifeguards were able to assess the situation, try to give him first aid. They called the authorities to take him to the hospital, where unfortunately they were not able to revive him. Great Stirrup Cay, as you know, it's Norwegian's island, and it's unfortunate that these things happen, especially to older people. If you're older person and you're doing activities like snorkeling or anything like that, please keep in mind your abilities. I know sometimes we feel younger than we think we are, and we think our bodies will go further than they think we do. We just reported on the same situation in Australia last week, where a lady lost her life doing the same activity. She was also an older lady. Speaking of Great Stirrup Cay, and slightly lighter news, Great Stirrup Cay is going to be dry next week. If you like to drink alcohol, you are in for a big surprise next week if you're traveling anywhere to the Bahamas. On May 12th, if you're traveling to the Bahamas, is their election day. And Bahama law says that you cannot purchase any type of alcohol on the island between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. What does that mean? Well, that means that you cannot drink on any place in the Bahamas, whether you are there through a cruise ship or you arrive by air. you are not allowed to drink on Tuesday until after 6 p.m. So this affects 7 cruise ships, and it affects 7 destinations that cruise ships land. Great Stirrup Cay. Actually, let me name them for you. It's going to be Celebration Key, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, Castaway Cay, Great Stirrup Cay, like I mentioned, Half Moon Cay, Ocean Cay, Virgin's Beach Club at Bimini, but I don't think Virgin is actually landing there that day. If you are traveling on these cruise ships, you are going to be affected. Carnival Glory, Carnival Freedom, Utopia of the Seas, Wonder and Oasis of the Seas, the MSC Seaside, Princess Caribbean. Actually, if you're lucky on going on the Norwegian getaway, now it's going to Great Stirrup Cay the day after, so on the 13th. So to avoid that situation, they said, you know what, we're going to go the next day. So you're visiting on the Vista instead of going to Half Moon Cay. You actually are being moved to Grand Turk that day. April 30th, they did it as a early voting, and Norwegian heeded the warnings then. Carnival heeded the warnings then, but Royal Caribbean didn't care about their passengers at the time, or didn't think it was going to be that serious, and they were not allowed to drink on the island, even if you bought the package to drink at the Royal Beach Club. And there were some guests, as you might know, since they didn't get any warnings, and so Royal had to give them onboard credit for their miscommunications. And that's going to affect a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people. It might not affect you if you don't drink, obviously, but things can get a little harsh for people that like to drink and like to drink often. Well, that's it for today's new show. If you received any value in our video, if you found out something new that you didn't know yesterday, please consider subscribing and liking to our channel. And if you need any help whatsoever booking any cruises or any land vacations, we're here to help. Our information down below. Give us a follow and give us a like, please. That's all we ask. Until next time, we'll see you on the big deck.